Professor Dyer, your tale is a shocking one. It's hard to believe after what we've heard that there were yet more terrors in store for you.
I wish it weren't true, Mr. Langfield, but our horrifying discoveries were just beginning.
What happened next?
The following morning, as soon as weather conditions permitted, Danforth and I left the others to search for Gedney by air. We thought that with the plane empty of the other men and equipment, we could gain enough altitude to see what was on the other side of the mountains.
Wasn't that a dangerous thing to do, Professor Dyer, given the circumstances?
Absolutely. But in spite of the prevailing horrors, we were left with enough sheer scientific zeal and adventurousness to wonder about the unknown realm beyond those mysterious mountains. Geologically, there's nothing else like this on Earth. I had to go. Danforth and I bundled in our heaviest furs and climbed in our aeroplane to a pass leading over the mountains. What we saw matched Lake's description perfectly. Those towering peaks had stood basically undisturbed for perhaps 50 million years. But it was the mountainside tangle of cubes, ramparts, and cave mouths which fascinated and disturbed us most.
Tell us about them.
As Lake had said, the edges of the cubes were crumbled and rounded from untold eons of savage weathering. Young Danforth was an avid reader of bizarre material and mentioned that certain scenes reminded him of passages in the works of Edgar Allan Poe. In fact, he claimed to have heard in the wind itself that strange sound from Poe's narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym, Tekalili. For me, it brought to mind the ruins at Machu Picchu or Kish. But how to account for such things in this place was, frankly, beyond me. I felt queerly humbled as a geologist. The cave mouths were square or semicircular, as if the natural orifices had been shaped to greater symmetry by some magic hand.
Professor, hand me the binoculars and take the controls. It's the same. Look around the mouth of that cave. The dots, they're the same as the soapstones and the graves. Look! Look!
It's probably just a coincidence, a formation that... Danforth, I think you're right.
It's like a dream, Professor. There's something unnatural here, some ancient lurking evil.
Steady on, Danforth. Don't let your imagination carry you away.
Do you see that pass looming up ahead? Beyond that pass lies a world no human eye has ever seen. In a moment, we shall look into an elder alien Earth without the stain of man.
What's our altitude?
23,570 feet. Here we go.
Merciful heavens.
Professor, can you believe it?
As the plane flew through the pass and crested that momentous divide, we beheld a limitless, tempest-scarred plateau covered with an endless labyrinth of colossal, regular and geometrically and architecturally arranged stone masses which reared their crumbled and pitted crests above the glacial sheet. The monstrous sight seemed a violation of natural law. Here, 20,000 feet high, in a climate deadly to habitation since mankind was little more than an ape, thrived a cyclopean city of obscene proportions, tearing upward through the ice, hideous and menacing.
It's a city. It goes on for miles.
The foothills, they're covered with the cube buildings.
Look, those walls must be 150 feet high.
The buildings varied in size. The general shape of these things tended to be conical, pyramidal, or terraced, though there were many perfect cylinders, perfect cubes, clusters of cubes, and other rectangular forms, and a peculiar sprinkling of angled edifices whose five-pointed ground plan roughly suggested modern fortifications. In the middle of the city, a vast, circular gulf, perhaps once the base of a great tower, opened to unthinkable blackness below. The construction was magnificent. Arches were used expertly, and domes probably existed in the city's heyday. In many places, the buildings were totally ruined and the ice sheet deeply riven from various geologic causes. A wide swath, wholly free from buildings, cut across from the foothills all the way to the other side of the plateau.